It's Monica from Life is Art, and we are joining you from the November-December catalog launch and just broadcasting over the business page because Facebook is Facebook, and that's just how it is. And so I'm just grabbing the link so I can take it into the event page and post it there so people who are looking for us in the event can find us. Let me just get in there. So this is 6 p.m. Nativity, scene, stamp and thin cuts. Sorry, I'm saying it as I'm typing it. And thin cuts. And it's alive. It's alive. There we go. Got the link. Are we posted? It is posting. And I'm hoping that by having the crop that's happening tomorrow in a group, I'm hoping that in the group I won't have so much difficulty. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that will be the case, that I will be able to get everything going okay. We shall see. We shall see. So we're looking at the November-December catalog. If you're joining me live, just say hello or howdy so I know you're here. And if you're joining me later for replay, you can just say replay. And we have been looking at this fabulous catalog. We've got two collections in here. We have the Silver Bells collection as well as the Evergreen collection. And we're actually going to use a little bit of pattern paper from Evergreen for this card. I'm doing cards today, and quite often I end up doing cards during the launch parties just because we have such a short amount of time, and we can get ourselves done our projects in the amount of time that we have. So I was inspired by this little part on the sort of the teaser page for the stamp sets, and I really liked the look of this, and so I thought I would sort of recreate it as a card. And so I'm going to be using the nativity scene stamp and thin cuts that you see right here, and we're going to show you how that comes together. So let's just grab some stuff here. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to need to cut out our scene for the background. And so we've got our stamps here. Comes with stamps, and then also the thin cuts are included there, come on a nice magnetic sheet. And the one that we're going to be using first is this one that creates the little scenery for the background. And so my first thing that I want to do, I'm going to just line it up here on my Versamat. And I have cut this piece of shortbread to, let me see, I actually want the dark side. I have cut it to, let me measure from the corner, 5.5 by 2.5. And so on my Versamat, I'm going to line it up. And what I'm going to do is I want to make sure this is straight, because this is only cutting the top edge. If I could pick it up, you can see here there is no cutter going across the bottom, and although this portion does come down like this portion just kind of comes off the edge. So what that means is if you were cutting this across a 12-inch piece, you could cut along, keep joining it together, and it would create one continuous die cut, which is awesome. So I see some people are joining me. Hello, Joanne, and my mom is here, and Laura, and Carol, and Michelle. You guys are all joining in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little bit of washi tape, a couple pieces, because I would kind of like the skyline for my nativity background to be somewhat straight, if you know what I mean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just line my die cut all the way across so that it is at about 1.5 inches from the bottom of this piece. And then I can just washi tape that. So all I'm using to measure is just the bottom, that straight edge of the die cut. Sticking it down, then I'm going to grab my machine here. I could have used the washi tape that stuck right there, but I forgot it was there. Going to just run this through. I can grab it, stick it, and I'm putting it in on a little bit of an angle. And we're just going to run it all the way through, like so. Lift it off. And so we've got our die cut with the top part that's been cut off. You could make a silhouette out of that. You could put a different piece of paper in behind, but there are like little windows and things. So that would be a little bit tricky. But then we have the piece that has been cut out in the background. Let me just pop the little parts out of the trees there. And that's it. Isn't that cute? A nice little silhouette of the city. Now, because I have an old plate here, you can see how little bits get stuck on it. All I do is I take my top plate and I just hold it over my trash can and I scrape it. So you'll hear it here in a second. And that scrapes all those little bits off. Makes some confetti. And then I store my plates inside my machine. I know not everybody does, but that's what I do. So there, we've created our background. Oh, I see one little piece that's just hanging on, coming along for the ride. Let's also grab our card base. So I'm using standard card base. I'm going to fold it with the scored bump side to the inside. We're going to create this on the horizontal. I think every card we've done today has been horizontal. Today is just a horizontal kind of day. But you remember in that teaser page, we had a beautiful pine background. So I've got a piece of pine cardstock that I've cut to 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And I'm going to center that on my card first. Just grab my adhesive. And again, I apologize that the video is in the wrong orientation. That is something that is going on with Facebook. I'm going to try it tonight because I have a live in my group tonight at 7 o'clock. We'll see if in the group it will let me go horizontal, which will be fine because for the crop, we do the crop in a group. And so fingers crossed, everyone, that will work. So part of the example that I'm using, it had these pieces larger than the pine. And so I'm kind of keeping that going. I'm not going to stick this down yet, but we need to do some stamping and coloring because I want to create my little nativity scene. So let me scooch this out of the way. And so I have my Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus and my star and my little donkey already in my platform. And I'm bringing in a piece of shortbread again, but this time I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to use the light side of my shortbread. So it's a little bit lighter. Just going to line it up here and then grab my intense black ink and I'm going to ink up my stamps and give them a stamperoo just like that. That came out good. So we don't have to repeat that. Let's take that out. I'll wash those later. Or not. You never know. So there we have stamped those. And then I also need to stamp one more little thing. So let me grab a piece of white daisy. And we're going to stamp the little sheep. And the reason why we're doing this one separately is because we want our little sheep to look white. We're going to make a white sheep. We didn't have to make a white sheep. There's lots of different colors of sheep. But we'll do a white sheep because that's what they had on the example that I got inspiration from. Okay. So now we need to do a little bit of coloring. And for the coloring, because I think this kind of has a childlike look to it. I think I want to use my colored pencils. So if you've seen in the new Essentials catalog, we have 3 sets of colored pencils. We have the Bright and Vivid. We have the Natural Landscape, and I believe the other one is called Perfect Portrait. I'm going to use these 2 today, the Bright and Vivid and the Natural Landscape. And these are by, these are Colorista by Spectrum Noir, and they're very nice to work with, I have found. And so let's grab these 2 packs. So that's the Bright and Vivid, and this is the Natural Landscape. I kind of like having these little holders for them. Okay, so let's start out with our little guys down here. And I'm going to begin with this sky blue from the Natural Landscape. And before you color with pencil crayons, you don't want to color with the sharp point. You want it to go on nice and smooth. So the best thing to do is go off to the edge where you've got some scrap and just color until you've got a nice little flat edge on your pencil crayon. That will help you to have a nice colored image when you're done. If you go ahead and color and you've got a sharp edge that kind of pokes into the paper, then you will find that if you go over it again, the pigment will try to go down in that crack that you've created, that little crevice, and it won't glide nicely. You will forever see that little sharp pointy bit. So I'm just going to color in little circles, little oval circular motion, and just put a nice light color over the little tunicky dress that this one is wearing. And then I want to add a little bit of shading. So I'm going to come under the chin, because there would be a bit of shadow there, and just go a little darker. And then we're going to come down this arm, like so, down this side of the dress, and a little bit across the bottom, and then also a little bit under this arm, like that. Just to add a little bit of shading. So that was using the sky blue. I'm going to jump over here and I'm going to add sky blue all over the little swaddling cloths here, like that. And I'm going to give it a little extra on this section and a little extra on this section, just for a bit of extra color. Then I'm going to jump to the oak tree, this lovely brown, sort of a reddish brown color. And I'm going to color a few things. I'm going to color this guy's robe, just give it some all over color, like this. Again, I'm just kind of going in little ovally, circly motion. And we're going to give him some shadow under his beard. So I can go a little heavier under there. Down this arm. We're kind of repeating the same thing that we did on her dress. And the bottom. Like that. And across. And then let's also color the donkey. So we're going to give him a little bit lighter in his ears. And a little bit lighter on the end of his nose, and then we'll come in with a little bit darker over his face and up the outside of his ears, like so, down here on his legs, end of his tail. We'll do a little bit of shadow under his chin, down this side, under his leg. Kind of like that. Maybe this side of his face too. Add a little extra. There we go. Looking good. Okay, and also we'll do the little legs of the manger. Like that. I know, you guys are excited to watch me color. And now we're going to go to dark timber. Just make sure we've got a nice flat spot, and we're going to do some hair. Nice little circles. Give it some all over color first. I like coloring on top of my Versamat. I find if I color on my desk, because it's wood grain, I actually pick up the texture of the wood grain. So again, we're going to do a little bit of a shadow under the head dress here, a little bit on the edge of the bangs and down the left side under there, and a little bit under that part. And then let's give Joseph some beard. We're going to give everybody the same hair color. I find with coloring you want to stick to as few color choices as possible so that it looks a little more cohesive. If you get too crazy, then it just gets a little crazy. And we're going to add some shadow down this side, under the mustache, and that looks good. And then, yes, let's do their shoes. Their little feeties here, they're sticking out. We'll give them a little bit of the dark timber. Good. And then let's do our star. We've got our star up here. Let's add some yellow. And this is the sunburst yellow. Yes, the sunburst yellow. Like that. There's the little sparkly bits coming off. I'm just doing all over color on that one. And then we're going to do a little bit of baby hair on here. Babies always have light floofies around them. Kind of like that. Add a little bit of the darker color as well. Like that. And now let's do their heads. So I've got some blue teal here. Let's get a flat spot. We'll color in with the blue teal. It's a darker blue than that sky blue we used. And we're just going to color. And I'm coloring quickly. I'm sure all of you could take your time and color so beautifully. I'm just coloring quickly because we have only a wee bit of time left together. And then I'm going to come in with the rich purple. Make sure I got a flat spot, and I'm going to add some rich purple to this blue, and it's going to bring it more to a navy color. You see how that color changed to a bit more navy? So we're just going to add that all the way around. And then we're going to do some shadow. So under this side, we're going to go even darker, like that. We'll do a little bit right there. And a little bit on this side, like that. Lovely. And then for the last bit, we're going to use, which one are we going to use? Was it this one? I think it was this one. Yes, we're going to use sap green. And we're just going to color in this with the sap green. Just adding in one more color. So we've got yellows, we've got browns, we've got blue, and we've got green. So that seems like a nice mix of colors. We're going to add a little bit of dark on this side. So we've got some shadow, a little bit of dark under here. Like that. And a little bit there too. Just because. Okay, now on our sheep, because we've got our sheep, we want to just give the impression of white, and to do that, we're just going to add a bit of gray. So we're just going to add a little bit of fluffy gray around where the shadows would be, under the floofy bits, under his chin, under there, maybe on his face. And let me see, we don't have black, but we could do just a tiny touch of brown just on the legs, very lightly, and a bit on the face and the ears. Just like that, just to make some differentiation in color. So we'll scooch those out of the way. And then we have die cuts for all of these. Now, you know me, I would be more inclined to just fussy cut them, but we're going to use the die cuts. so that we can say we used the die cuts. So we have the little sheep. And when you're using your die cuts, I always like to stamp first and then die cut. Some people like to do the opposite, but I find I have an easier time lining up the die cut after the fact. Now, let's see. We have to match our shapes with the right ones. There we go. Like that. And we should probably be able to do all of these all at once, because they're all different. Now, in this scenario, if you want to do all 3 kings, you just stamp the king 3 times. And if you want more sheep, you just stamp the sheep more times. And same with the donkey. There we go. And the little donkey. And the star. Set that over there. Because when we come to the end of the die cutting, we will want to be able to put those, oh, there we are, the end of the roll. It's taken me a long time to get through that roll of washi tape. We have come to the end of it. And there we go. I think that's centered. It's hard to tell. It's far away from my face. And there we go. Okay, let's grab the die cut machine. Get ready to run it through. I don't think you guys have ever seen me die cut as much as I have die cut today. We're going to just trim around the little sheep there so we can stick him on there as well. Let's run it through. And then all the die cuts are going back on the magnetic sheet so we don't lose them. There's our sheep. Oh, everybody popped out. Throw those all back on there. And here's all our little guys. I'm so excited to see how this turns out. Okay. So now on our little thing here, our little thing, that's great. Our little thing. I'm going to use the sap green again that we just used. If I can find it. Sap green. Okay, so we're going to actually add a little bit of color onto this because in the example it had a little bit of color. So we're going to add a little bit of green just to the top of our little palm trees very lightly. In fact, that's probably darker than I wanted, but we're going to add it on there. And then also a little bit of the oak leaf. Just make sure I've got a flat edge. Just on a few of the edges of these domes and roofs. Just to give it that feel of, you know, scenery that's been painted in the background. There we go. That's it. Easy peasy. I was trying to decide. Yes, I'm going to pop this up with a bit of foam tape, but I'm also bringing in, remember how I said we're going to use some pattern paper from the Evergreen. And so this was actually one of the pattern papers, the pattern paper that was used in the example. And so I want to just stick it on here, and I'm going to do it about 1/2 inch from the bottom. So I'm going to use my Versamat to line it up. So lining it up, add some adhesive. Sorry, I'm working so far down on the mat here, but it's actually closer to me. All right. So this piece of pattern paper has been cut to 5.5 by 1 inch. And I kind of like that there's this little dot of sort of the shortbread color it'll kind of pick up on that. And I'm going to put it at the bottom, 1/2 inch from the bottom edge, like that. And then I think I want to use some of that thin foam tape to pop this up so it really gets that dimensional look of scenery in the background. So I'm just going to grab some snips of foam tape, and I'm going to kind of ignore all the little bits at the top, because sometimes you just got to ignore things. So I'm going to add foam tape on the main part, like so. And then we can peel off the backing. So did I give you the dimension for this shortbread before I die cut it? I might have. It's 5.5 inches wide. And it was 2.5 inches tall. And so then I just kind of figured out where to place the die cut based on the tallest dome and to make it level from side to side. All right, now we want to stick this on, and we'll put it on at about 1.5 inches from the bottom. It'll just slightly overlap that pattern paper, like that. Super cute. I like that it's raised a little bit off of the back. It kind of gives it that scenery feel. All right, now we've got all our little guys here. So let me bring back in our example. This is what we were going for our inspiration. So we've got a couple over here and these ones over here. So let's get our little sheepy on first. He's going to be over here like that. And then this guy, Joseph. And then we've got baby Jesus. We've got Mary. And we've got the donkey. Like that. And then we, of course, have our star up in the sky. So cool. Alrighty. Let's grab some regular foam tape, if I can, way over here. Just to add these guys on, and that will give them a bit of dimension from the background. Add our foam tape. And if I add the foam tape near the bottom, then it's not going to interfere with the foam tape that's on the background. But for the parts that are on the background, we're going to grab that thin foam tape that I just buried and add that at the top. Because the thicker foam tape is about twice as much as the thin. So since we've already got one layer of thin, we'll add one layer more. So there's our little Joseph and the sheep. And then adding our baby Jesus. He only needs one piece of foam tape. Down there like that. And Mary will be the same. We'll add a thicker one at the bottom and a thinner one at the top. Friends through thick and thin. Now, I haven't seen if anybody's commenting on there. How are we liking it? Do you think this is kind of a fun stamp set? I think it is. Makes me think of all the plays that we did at church. We had a lot of kids who were a little bit stage fright, so we used to actually do all of ours as slideshows. So we would take pictures of them in the costumes, and they would have no idea what the story was about, because it changed from year to year. And then when it came time to do the performance, the kids were not on stage. They just watched the slideshow, so they got to enjoy it. Now, if you're wondering why my voice has gotten soft, it's because I'm trying to grab the sticker sheet. And let me see. I'm trying to remember which one I wanted because I had it and then I put it away. Gotta love it. All right. Yes, it was the Silver Bells sticker sheet. And on the Silver Bells sticker sheet, there's lots of little stickers and words on here. And so for this particular one, we've got the little word believe right here. And we're going to add that on just right in here over the shoulder of these two. And that is going to be our sentiment for our card. And it's got that nice little gold tinge. And then let's grab our star here. Add a little bit of the thin foam tape to it. I forgot about the star till it slid away. How many of you were sitting there watching going, when's she going to stick the star down? Yeah, you know, eventually. As my husband says, even the slowest train comes into the station. Michelle thinks it's adorable, super cute. Yeah, Laura, it sure is. And you can add all sorts of things. You can even do 2 layers of this, which I think would be really cute. And then we need some bling on here because it's never quite complete without the bling. So let me just grab, I think we will use, where did I put it? Some of those fun blings, bling bling, from the Silver Bells. No, I'm thinking these toffee ones that we've already got out, ready to go. I just need my pokey tool. I have been doing crafting today and running around, and so it's a little bit disarrayed around here. So let's add let me see. I don't know if I want a big one. I'm thinking we're going to stick with the smaller ones. I think we'll add a bling here, a little bling here, and then one more bling. I'm trying to decide if I want it up here or down here, or maybe even closer than that. Maybe over here with the little sheep, just like that. How cute is that? Oh my goodness, so sweet. So we started out with our white card base. We added on some pine cardstock, a nice bit of the shortbread using that die cut that can just cut across. Then we added in pattern paper from the Evergreen collection, a sticker from the Silver Bells collection, and then of course these beautiful little nativity characters, creating the beautiful nativity scene done with our new Colorista by Spectrum Noir pencil crayons, even adding a little bit of color up here. And I think that is super cute. I'm so excited. I hope you enjoyed seeing that come together. Now, one other thing that is on this particular example in the catalog, and I decided not to add it. Where did my catalog go? There it is. I didn't add it, but there are some gold stickles on the star and possibly in the hay around here. So those are the kind of things that you can add in as well. But I'm going to keep mine stickless for today and just stick with those cute Silver Bells dots. All right. Have a wonderful rest of the evening. And thank you for joining me for the catalog launch party. And I hope that you are inspired to take a look through the online catalog. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. And we will be on tomorrow for the crop. We're going to New York City. Alrighty, have a wonderful evening. We'll see you again soon. Toodaloo. Bye.